Oh, that business. You know, telling the story was even better than getting bad signal reports. For those of you, Bob spilled the beans here. So you all know my parrot. You've seen him many times, and he comes to all the meetings, and here he is. Yesterday, I had a beer in the shack, and the parrot decided, that business. The parrot decided he had to knock over the beer. It went in the radios and the microphones. I got a report that it sounded like I was underwater when I checked into SVTN, but I was really under beer apparently. They're okay now, Bob. They're dried out.
Yeah, it's good that you were able to get it done last night on the net. People haven't. Who was it that said you had a back signal report? It says no. He was just talking to an alcoholic radio.
Yeah.
Glad you got it cleaned up though.
Oh, this goddamn thing.
Greetings, everybody. We still got people connecting, so we'll get started shortly. Give a chance for everybody to get connected.
Well, I got everything with the meeting.
I'm not saying you're doing something computer.
When you get the mail.
All right, we'll get started in about 2 minutes. Connections are starting to slow down, so. And just so everybody knows, we're streaming live to YouTube, and we have 8 people on there watching right now. And hopefully the weather radio doesn't go off during a live mic. So, all right, let's go ahead and we'll get started. Let me get the flag up. Share screen. All right. Greetings, everybody, and welcome to the Orlando Amateur Radio Club May 5th, 2021 meeting. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. We're actually then going to go around, just introduce the board members that are on board with us tonight, and then any guest introductions. And then after that, we're going to let our presenter go first, and we'll do an introduction to who our presenter is, and allow Anthony to do his presentation, and then go into question and answers, and then we'll go into our general meeting. So with that, if everybody wants to can stand, you can sit in place, recite the pledge. Be great. But I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, guys. Let me take this down real quick so I don't have to worry about that lagging anything. And we still haven't YouTube. Okay. All right. Give me 1 second here. There's some new faces in the crowd tonight, and some that we might haven't seen for a while, and so we welcome everybody back to the Orlando Amateur Radio Club meetings. For those of you who are new and don't know who the officers and directors are, my name is John Knott. I'm N4GTK. I'm the president of Orlando Amateur Radio Club, and also I have the co-host of the Orlando Hamcation Commercial Vendors. We're going to sit there and go around real quick, and we'll start with Michael. Michael, you want to introduce? We'll go around to the rest of the officers, and then to the board members. Don't forget to unmute.
Michael Colley, W4MCA, Vice President of Orlando Amateur Radio Club, and the Hamcation General Chairman.
All right, Bobbin.
Good evening, everybody. Bob Nocero, Secretary of the Orlando Amateur Radio Club and current host of the Tuesday night Wayne Nelson's Traders Net.
All right, Anna.
Anna Groh, KM4JVE. I am the treasurer for OARC, also the chairwoman for hospitality and finance for Hamcation.
And that gentleman sitting next to you is who?
The ham of the house. This is Dean Groh. I'm AD4TWJ, one of the directors for the Orlando Amateur Radio Club, and I'm also the IT chairman for Hamcation.
All right, and let's go down to James Dool. Jan?
Well, I'm I'm a director, and I'm also the forums chairperson for Hamcation. Nothing else really to add. I don't think I have any other titles. Well, I might, but I just won't present them here.
Okay. All right, and Tony?
Good evening. I apologize for the camera issues here. I'm Tony Darnell, KK4VRP, one of the board members or directors for Orlando Amateur Radio Club, and also co-chair for security at Hamcation.
All right, Frank G.
Good evening, everyone. Frank Burgitz, KC9GNQ. I'm one of the directors and also the on-site ticket chairman for Orlando Hamcation, and also one half of the Silent Key Committee for Orlando Amateur Radio Club.
All right, and Bob C.
Bob Cumming, W2BZY, commercial co-chair, past president of the club, and also do the VE liaison for OARC.
All right, last but certainly not least, Frank T.
Hi, I'm Frank Tagliani, KD4EGW, board of directors with OARC and co-chair for security at Hamcation.
All right, and I know we have Jim, KG4JSZ. Jim, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Hopefully my camera worked through. Jim Schilling, KG4JSZ, Southeastern Division Vice Director for the ARL.
Welcome, and we'll give you the floor here shortly. If you have anything you want to talk about. All right, and finally, I want to introduce our presenter tonight. Please welcome Anthony. Anthony, how do you pronounce your last name so I don't mess it up?
It is Luscree.
Luscree. Yes. K8ZT. Anthony was first licensed in 1981. Anthony has been a QRP operator from his very first QSO Active in many aspects of amateur radio, including contesting, DXing, rag chewing, and satellites. Recently retired, Anthony lives with his wife, Linda, who's also ham. Her call sign is Kilo Alpha 8, Oscar Delta Papa, near Akron, Ohio. Anthony currently serves as the ARRL Ohio Section Youth Coordinator. He enjoys sharing his amateur radio interests with others, and Anthony has done over 50 club presentations virtually in multiple states and countries since the start of the pandemic. I know you've been pretty busy with doing lots of different presentations. He also has done several presentations on RATPAC, which is an acronym for Radio Amateur Training, Planning, and Activities Committee. If you like the more information on the RATPAC, I can provide that to you. Just send me an email and I'll send you a link to how you can get hooked up on it. They have a lot of great presentations on there that you can watch. So please hold your questions to the end of Anthony's presentations. We'll make sure everybody has a chance to get their questions answered. And if by chance, if we are running short of time, I'm sure if Anthony doesn't mind, he'll provide his email address so that way everybody can, or somebody can email him a question after the fact in reference to his presentation. His presentation tonight is on, I forgot to write that part down here. You want to tell us what it is, Anthony?
Yes, it's software and web resources for amateur radio.
Okay. And the floor is now yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead and start my sharing. By the way, I had a wonderful time at Hamcation 2020. I got first time ever, and that was my last ham activity for quite a while. My wife and I drove down to Florida and had a wonderful time. I spent the last couple hours of the Hamcation operating the special event station, so I had a good time doing that also. So this is my email contact information and my website. For some reason, the mouse doesn't want to change, but that's okay. The link for tonight's presentation is tiny.cc/software-AR. And anytime you see this little icon, that means there's a link that you can click on. The software that I'm going to talk about tonight, I have links for almost all of it in the presentation, so you'll need this presentation to have access to it. In the chat, I've put a link for all my presentations, which have now passed 70 as of this week. I'm doing 2 tonight, actually. If you want to catch me up for my second part of the doubleheader, it's Palomar Club out in California tonight.
Gonna be busy.
So software categories, and just to break things down a little bit: logging, contesting, QSLing, controlling the radio, rotors, antennas, etc. Software for programming memories, frequencies in the computer, into the radios. Operating mode software, propagation and spotting software, software to help design antennas, PC boards, circuits, etc. Satellite tracking, training software, including CW training, licensing software, simulators, etc. Clocks, gray lines, miscellaneous maps, and other resources. Testing in electronics, audio, video, digital signal processing, etc. Software-defined radios, and remote control. And then the 13th category is apps, which I'm not going to be talking about tonight. It could be a whole presentation on its own. So I have some links here, and as I said earlier, all these links are hyperlinked in the presentation, and you can click on them for access. So these are some sites that have a lot of different software links on them. We'll start off with talking about logging, contesting, and QSLing software. And these are links for general logging programs and also some contest logging software. And a couple of these are free. Actually, most of the ones on this screen are free. And I'll talk about some that are not free also as we move through this a little bit. One that I've been using with a lot of my friends who are just getting started is Log4OM. There's now version 2 out. If you're new to contesting, I did a presentation earlier, actually last year in November, on Introduction to Contesting, and there's also a great book out from ARRL in the last 2 years on beginning contesting. So let's talk a little bit about contest logging software. I did a presentation for the Rat Pack back in, I think it was January or February, on contesting logging software, and that's available. You can watch the slideshow or the video recording. And then I also have some specific information on N1MM, which is the most popular contesting logging software. So some of the advantages of computer logging versus paper logging include quick and efficient logging of contacts with automatic date, time, and frequency entry. I remember when I used to log contests on paper, I would always forget to mark when I changed the bands, so I would always end up with a problem with that or forget to write the time down. It also helps you avoid mistakes in logging, automatic dupe checking, displays the needed multipliers and your current score. It's easy to submit your log electronically to the contest sponsor after it's all done. It's easy to import QSOs from contest software into the station log. And it's easy to export QSOs to sites such as Logbook of the World or EQSL to do online QSL confirmations. Some of the other features in contesting logging software include things such as radio interfacing to read and or change the frequency, DX cluster, reverse beacon network spotting integration, CW keying, or voice memory keying for that matter if you're operating phone, and the display of current statistics, including the work needed multipliers such as this little chart here, and things like your QSO rate to keep you encouraged in moving forward. Band maps. This is some screenshots from N1MM. Band maps can visually display the spotted stations that are coming in via the reverse beacon network or telnet, and you can see them right here, or the stations you've already worked, which are in gray in this case. And the different colors represent different levels of multiplier. So blue would be no multiplier, green would be a double multiplier, and red would be a single multiplier. By double clicking on any of these entries in the band map, I can change my radio's frequency, enter the call sign into the log, and then all I need to do is complete the contact and hit the enter key to finish up. This is a little chart showing some of the 6 most popular logging softwares. N1MM is a free software. N3FJP is a very good piece of software. It's a commercial software, but it's not very expensive. And some statistics from the 2018 CQ Worldwide contest. If you are a Macintosh or Linux user, I have some links for other software for contest logging and for logging in general on my website, k8zt.com, which I'll be showing a little bit later. There's going to be an online presentation, actually 2 nights of presentations. We're going to dig real deep into N1MM Logger, sort of a pre-field day type of kickoff for people that are not that used to using it, and also for the general contesting season, which will be coming up in the fall. This will take place Wednesday, June 9th and June 16th at 9 p.m. On the regular Rat Pack Zoom meetings. So we'll be going into installation, setup, interfacing, configuration, customization, and networking, using the software in pre and post contest activities, and troubleshooting. And we're going to do extensive Q&A during that period of time to get people actually sort of hands-on. They'll be doing the setup on their own in their station while we do the presentation. As far as contesting logging software and any logging software for that matter, try multiple programs to find the one you like best. Most programs have a demo or free version to try out. In most cases, files can easily be transferred between any of the logging software via a format called ADIF, which I'll mention in a few more minutes here. There's also reviews on eHAM and on YouTube for the various pieces of software. So also consider asking your fellow hams what they use and what their experiences have been. General logging software versus contesting software. Logging software packages for general logging basically fit into multiple categories. Comprehensive logbook software, contest logging software, which I've already talked about, and then other ham radio software that has built-in logging. So if any of you do FT8 or FT4 with WSJTX, you know that it actually has a log built into it itself that can keep track of your contacts. FL Digit can do something similar. But I don't see these as your final logging solution, just as a temporary logging solution. And then there's some station management software that's a logbook plus other tools such as Ham Radio Deluxe and DX Lab. When I ask people what log they use for their station, a lot of people will tell me things like, well, I use Logbook of the World, or I use QRZ, or I use EQSL. Well, those have logging capability, but they're not really good for a comprehensive logging software. They're good along with a comprehensive solution, but a comprehensive logbook software, I consider having a program that keeps all of your contacts in it. It also handles all of your tasks such as QSLing, and then recording the incoming QSLs that you get, both paper and electronic. So a comprehensive logbooking software has the ability to import the contacts from your contesting logging software, programs with built-in logging such as WSJTX, maybe a portable logging software that you might use when you're in the field, and paper logbooks, and they can all be imported very easily using the ADIF standard. From the comprehensive logbook, it's very easy to both upload QSL confirmations to Logbook of the World and then download the other station's confirmations to your comprehensive logbook to keep records. Same thing with EQSL. Clublog allows you to upload your files, but there's no download from Clublog into your logbook. And the same thing with QRZ. You can upload into QRZ so that you can exchange information that way. So one comprehensive logbook software to quote the Lord of the Rings, to rule them all. In the land of hams where the ether connects them, one logbook to rule them all, one logbook to find them, one logbook to bring them all, and in the QSLs bind them. In the land of hamdom where the ether is ever excited, with apologies to Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. I know yesterday was Star Wars Day, so I guess today can be Lord of the Rings Day. So just a little bit of a comparison between contest logging software and general logging software. General logging software keeps detailed information on your contacts, including both the contact information and substantial things you might do, like sending out a QSL card, or receiving a QSL confirmation, uploading it to Logbook of the World, using it in an award. So all those things can be kept track of there. In contest logging software, we just basically want the minimal needed information required for the contest. So the exchange, the call sign, the time, the frequency, etc. General logging software is great for managing QSL records. Contest logging software can't do that, but what it can do is calculate the contest scores. General logging software contains all of your QSOs over time. Contest logging, you just want the QSOs from a single contest because you want to be able to look for dupes and not work a station again. So if you keep all of your contacts in a contest logging software, it can get rather confusing. General logging software shows previous contacts with a station. Contest logging software lets you know about dupes, but you don't really want multiple contacts for the most part. General logging software is configured for all types of QSOs. Contest logging software is configured for a specific contest to be able to score it and to be able to show you which stations can be worked in that particular type of contest. General logbooking software keeps track of award categories, worked all states, DXCC, VUUC, etc., whereas contest logging software shows potential worked multis, countries, states, counties, etc. General logbooking software allows you to import, export, and interface with other software. And contest logging software usually is responsible for producing two export files. The Cabrillo file, also known as a .log file, which is the file you submit to the contest entity to enter the contest, and the ADIF file, which you can export and then import into your general logging software. For more information on general logging software, I did a program for the ARRL. I think this was in September or October of 2020. And again, there's a video and slideshow, both available for those. As far as logbook software by category, you can do DIY, do it yourself with a spreadsheet or database if you want, but there's really no reason to reinvent the wheel for the most part. Although I do find spreadsheets very useful, and I do put all my information, export it from my log into spreadsheets to analyze it. Logging software packages are designed specifically for amateur radio logging. There's paid, free, and shareware programs available. and you can install them on personal computers. And there's even some logbook software that is online. Now, I'm not talking about sites where you upload your things, such as on QRZ, but there's actually portable loggers that you can use online in the field if you want to from your phone, from your tablet or phone. And I already talked about that. This is just a little chart I put together from the Logbook of the World site. These are a number of Windows programs and one Linux and one Mac program that are support export of information into Logbook of the World. And you notice there's 2 contest logging softwares here, and then the rest of them are comprehensive logging softwares, along with some typical prices, and I have links to the site for each of these. So when you're looking at logbook software, one of the biggest things is choosing between the different programs. So I suggest you explore multiple programs. Again, there's free versions and demos available of almost all of them. You're often going to find that the choice comes down to a balance between features and ease of use versus extra features. That's just got a little misspelling there, but it comes down between the features available and the ease of use, and that can help you determine what you want. And again, reviews available on these websites, ask other people, and very similar to the logging software. One last logbook software for special purposes. I'm not sure if anyone out there has used this. It's called NetLogger. NetLogger is a great program for the person running the net, but it can also be used to find nets that you might want to take part in. So it's a free program called NetLogger, and you can click on the link to find out more information. And you can also play the little video that's embedded in this to find out more about it. I mentioned earlier ADIF, and ADIF stands for Amateur Data Interchange Format. This allows export and import of data between a wide variety of amateur radio software, contest logging programs, websites, online QSLing, etc. And there are a variety of tools also available for manipulating IDF files. By the way, if you want to find out more about IDF, click on this link and you can find out more details on how it works. And there's actually multiple versions of it over time. They keep adding features to it. So most contest logging programs use an output file called a Cabrillo file, and also known as .log files. And these are the files you upload to the contest entries, as I mentioned earlier. Trey, N5KO, is the person that designed this, and when he was doing it, he wanted to give it a name that wouldn't have any connotations to any specific contest or any specific organization. So he looked out his window in California, and there was Cabrillo University there, community college, and so he decided to name it Cabrillo. So there's your trivia fact that you can impress your ham friends with. It's actually named after a college. It has nothing to do with any type of radio. And this is the seabirds, the college's mascot. These are all links to utilities that work with ADIF files. This is from N1DC. He has the ADIF county conversion plus a number of other software tools out there that you can use to work with your ADIF files and your Cabrillo files to do different things. So if you worked the massive number of QSO parties last week, he has tools to be able to parse those out into separate categories. Also to adjust the counties before you import them into your log, so it actually shows the correct county in the log. And I find these very useful, and they're all free, and he always keeps updating them. So there's a variety here of files for that. And then I threw in this one last down here. This is a set of /0 fonts so that you can have a better display with any of the software we might be talking about today. Just both fonts for Windows and fonts for Chrome that you can use that have /0s in them. Log analysis software is a way to get better at contesting by analyzing your past performance, but it should not be used as a pre-submission tool. That's not really seen as ethical in most contests. So Save the log and analysis software for after you submit your log, not before to scrub your log. The first 3 are free. The last 2 are paid commercial versions. If you want a contest, you need to know when the contests are, and this is an example of some web resources. These are 5 sites where you can get information on what contests are coming up. I use the WA7BNM site extensively, and it's very nice. It gives you an 8-day view or a 12-month view. So these are the contests coming up this week. I can click on any of these that I'm interested in. It'll give me more information and actually links to that information. But the information tells you the time, the modes, the exchange, all that sort of thing from right there. So it's very convenient. This one's very interesting. The DL2 NBY calendar is actually a series of Google calendars. And because of that, you can choose to import any of them by using the little plus button on the bottom to have it go into your own personal Google Calendar so that you can view them. It gets a little bit crowded, but you, as you know, if you use Google Calendar often, you can turn on and off calendars so they're still installed on in your calendar, but not being viewed all the time. So you can simply click on this and choose which ones you want to install on your calendar. Just a few last things about actually, I think this is the last time I'm going to mention logging. If you're interested in doing online QSLing, one of the things that's really important is that you get your log into an electronic format. And then also I did a program on QSLing in an online world, again, in one of the AWR webinars. I don't remember when I did this one. I've done 5 of them now, so I lose track. So let's talk a little bit about online QSLing. I have a whole slideshow and presentation. I actually put this together. This was actually the last presentation I did before the pandemic. So I did this last February, but I've done it many times now online during the pandemic also. So if you're exchanging QSLs, there's a number of different ways you can do them. You can do them physically, either in person, via the mail, or via QSL bureaus such as the AWR QSL Bureau. You can do hybrid versions. Online QSL request system, OQRS, is a way that you can go online and request a card and then a physical card arrives. You can also do email requests for some people. Just say, send me an email with the information. I'll be glad to send you a card. And occasionally we get unsolicited or non-expected response. A lot of times some of the big D expeditions or some of the contesting clubs might send out QSL cards via the Bureau, even though you didn't request one. But what I really want to focus on today is electronically submitting QSLs, and the AWR Logbook of the World is probably the biggest one. EQSL is another one, and one of the advantages of EQSL is it has image files that go along with it. So the AWRL is simply a electronic data acknowledgement. You don't get any pictures or any cards, but the EQSL will actually give you an image that you can actually print out if you want to. And the QRZ logbook also will keep track of other people you've worked. But the one that most people use if they're interested in pursuing awards is the Logbook of the World software. So in the olden days, you'd be filling out cards and finding addresses. This lucky person has a computer to go through to do it, but I remember flipping through the old Flying Horse logbooks to look up people's call signs with the tiny print. I would go to the library because I didn't have enough money to buy one myself when I first started out. So I'd take all my QSL cards and plant myself in the library for hours. So if you are going to do computerized QSLing, you need to get your logs into electronic format. This is a quick start guide from the AWRL on Logbook of the World. This is another very good guide, and this is a community sourced guidebook. About 12 people got together and put together this guidebook to Logbook of the World. Gary, ZL2 IFB, coordinated the project, but numerous people worked on it as a live document online to put this together. And you can just click on the link and get an access to the PDF file for this. And he keeps updating it all the time. So this is a very good resource. It started out with about 4 pages and it's 37 pages now. I'm not going to go through all the details on setting up Logbook of the World. That's a whole presentation in itself, but you need to do a number of things to get it set up, including installing some software, requesting a certificate will come in the mail via postcard, and then setting everything up. And EQSL, you can go online and set that up also, and it just requires you to do some things online with them to set up your access. Register your link, fill out a form, click on a couple files, and then you can start exchanging images of your QSL card. If you don't pay any fee, this is the free version. But if you want to pay a fee, you can actually have a very customized card if you want to. I mentioned OQRS. So OQRS, it's a hybrid form of QSLing where you actually go online and request the card. And you can either do it via the Bureau or you can have cards come direct. Sometimes there's a fee involved. You do that via PayPal. But what happens, you'll end up eventually getting a hard copy paper card, just like you would if you exchanged it via the Bureau or via the mail. Unfortunately, there is no one OQRS resource. There's a number of different sites, and they're all optional whether people opt into them or not. So Clublog is probably the biggest one, and it's a free website, and it has a bunch of other features on it also. So if you're looking at starting out on OQRS, I definitely suggest you take a look at the Clublog site. The Clublog site will let you upload your logs and keep track and do nice little things like create files for you to show you all the countries you've worked and all the zones you've worked and all these sort of things out there. So you can get a lot of information from there. The OQRS is real nice though because you can actually look up a person's information and request it. So this is just a little thing called this is a chart of my DXCC, and the ones that are in green are confirmed, but the ones that are work but not confirmed, if I click on that, if the person accepts OQRS, I can simply go on here and request a card from them from this link. So it's a very convenient way to request cards. And again, most of the time they're free if you do them via the Bureau or you pay a small fee. I use this quite extensively to be able to do that. And then I also signed up so people can request cards from me via Clublog. The nice thing is you get a physical card when you're all done. You don't have to worry about sending a card, filling out a card, and mailing it in. But there's other sites that do OQRS also. And then many DXpeditions will do their own OQRS on their website. So check websites of DXpeditions for the ability to request a card electronically. And this just shows you real quick how Clublog works. You go in, find the country, find the person you want, see where you've worked them, click on this little form and choose whether you want it via the Bureau or direct. And he charges $2 for direct cards, and Bureau cards are free. You click on this, confirm everything, fill everything out, and hopefully eventually the card will show up in your post box. It usually comes inside of an envelope. It doesn't just. I'm just kidding. It usually comes via the Bureau in my case. QRZ. I just want to mention this for a couple reasons. Most people think of QRZ as the place where you go and find the email addresses of stations, or maybe their mailing address, maybe what county they're in. You might look at a picture of them. These are all things you can do on QRZ.com. This is an example of a picture of my QRZ.com page. If you have not registered yourself on QRZ, you want to do that at a minimum, because when you register, you get a chance to edit your own biography, check to make sure they have your grid correctly entered in the details, because a lot of times it's based on your post office zip code and not your house address. You can also add a contact email address, add pictures, and use the forms, the online forms that they have. There's no charge to register, and you can do that very easily on the website. Just
Good evening, Jim KF4 is the RN.
Hey, Jerry.
In addition, QRZ.com has a logbook where you can upload your files directly, or you can choose to have them download from Logbook of the World. That's what I do. One little click on the download from Logbook of the World, and it updates all my information on there. And I'll just bring up QRZ real quick to show you what it looks like. Go to my page, my logbook, and you can see it tells me the information on the band and everything. And then it also says whether the person has uploaded a matching record. So if they've uploaded a matching record, I know that I'm going to get a QSL card because I've obviously worked them. In this case, this also shows that this has been also confirmed on Logbook of the World. That's what the little circle around it means. By the way, just as an aside, if you haven't been on the bands lately, 17 meters has been really hot in the evenings. As you can see here, I had a good evening on with Fiji and Kazakhstan and New Zealand, all in a very short period of time on 5 watts of power. Okay, let's move into our next area of software. But before we do that, if you're interested in just getting started with amateur radio, I have some other programs. One on many things technicians can do besides local repeaters, setting up your first HF station, setting up your first VHF station, and buying your amateur radio equipment. And again, those are all listed both here and in this link I put out earlier. So let's talk about computer and radio interfacing. There's a number of reasons why you might want to do this. One is computer-aided transceiver control, which we call CAT. You can also use it to program memories and into your radios. And you can also use it to do firmware updates. For the digital modes, you can have an interface that does audio in and audio out from your radio, either from a built-in sound card in your radio or from a virtual audio device if you are using a software-defined radio. So this is just a quick little example. If you're using a radio without a sound card and you want to operate WSJTX, you need to have a sound card interface involved in it also, and this would be the way you would do this. The CAT control will be separate. Many of the radios now have built-in sound cards, and the USB cable not only carries the CAT information, but also the digital audio input and output, plus push-to-talk capability. So simply one cable can allow you to control the radio and operate these digital modes. So CAT will let you change frequencies, change bands, change modes, record the information from your radio into your logging software. In the olden days, CAT interfaces either used RS-232 or TTL, and if they did use TTL, you usually needed an accessory to have a level converter. Some early systems also use proprietary interfaces or connectors. Fortunately, most of the newer ones either use simple USB cables, or if you do have RS-232, you can use an RS-232 to USB cable adapter. If you're doing that, I suggest a couple things. I suggest you buy a high quality cable with ferrite suppressors on it to stop noise along there. Sound card interface, I'm going to skip over this part. Many of the newer VHF, UHF radios have computer programming capabilities, the ability to upload memories, the ability to be able to clone one radio of one model with the same settings in this identical model of the same radio. There's a piece of software called Chirp that's a free open source software that does programming on a wide variety of radios. Probably the most popular paid version is RT Systems. They have versions for many different radios, but you have to buy the individual ones per radio. So it's not one piece of software that handles all the radios, whereas Chirp handles a whole variety of radios on its own. There's two other programming softwares, KC8UNJ and VA3XPR. The bottom two, though, are for digital mode radios, DMRs, for editing code plugs, which is a whole nother topic that I won't have time to go into tonight. But again, as I mentioned, all these are links where you can get to this software very easy by simply clicking on the link, and it'll take you out to that website. A couple keys to any interfacing you might do with your radio. Always make sure you install the manufacturer's software drivers on the computer before you connect any cables. If you're using serial to serial to USB cable adapters, always purchase adapters that have FTDI chips in them. That's a strong recommendation as opposed to the prolific, which will run into a number of problems with counterfeit prolific chips and a number of issues. So spending a few more dollars and buying one with an FTDI chip in it will save you a lot of headaches. And again, buying a name brand USB to serial adapter can also have some extra features. For example, the StarTech model has the ability to remember which port number. So you'll notice that many times when you use a USB to serial adapter, every time you plug it into your computer, it might change the port number that it's using. The StarTech keep the same port that you set. The other keys to connecting are to be able to check your port number. And again, I'm talking about Windows software here by going to Control Panel and then the Control Device Manager to see what port it is assigned to that USB cable. And you can create a shortcut to your desktop manager if you go to it often by just using this command, devmanagement.msc, that you can set up a shortcut on your desktop. When in doubt, unplug all the extra USB devices and cables and reboot the computer and then start putting them in one by one until you can identify which one is being assigned which port. Always make sure you turn on your radio before starting any of the software, especially things like WSJTX. It has this bad habit if you start it up before you start your radio or connect all the cables of finding something else to connect to and it'll end up with the wrong port number and or the wrong sound card. Sharing COM ports, routing audio, etc. This COM0COM software lets you set up one COM port to be shared between multiple softwares. I use this COM0COM in conjunction with this commercial program called Win4K3 interface. I am using a Elecraft K3S, and I can operate my station logging software, which is Logic 9, my contest logging software N1MM, my WSJTX, all without having to shut any of them down. I could have them all running simultaneously by sharing the one port from the radio using this software combinations. Another category of software control is radio and rotor control. Some of these programs are able to simply change frequencies or read the frequencies, and some of them, such as OmniRig and HamLib, are actually built into many different programs. So for example, if you use oh, my brain went blank, the CW decoding program, it has OmniRig built in to control the radio and operate CW skimmer. So some of these are built, HamLib and OmniRig are built into other software. FLRIG is part of the FLDigi program, and it gives you rig control. This is free. OmniRig is free. Some software is used to actually operate. So for the FT8, FT4, the WSJTX modes, WSJTX by K1JT is the software you want. FLDigi handles a variety of digital modes, NCW and RIDI. So there's a variety of software out there to actually make contacts with. If you do run WSJTX, there's some add-ons such as JT Utilities and JT Alarm, which can help our programs. This is an example of the newer version of JT Alert. I'm not sure how many of you use JT Alert along with your FT8, FT4. This program, version 2.5, just came out a couple weeks ago. It's actually out. Version 2.50.1 just came. 2.5.0.1 just came out this week to fix the problem that they were having with it a little bit earlier. They've now separated into 64-bit and 32-bit programs separately. But this works with the WSJTX. Some software for propagation and spotting, a variety of different things. Also, I have some software here for determining what grid square you're in. If you're into designing antennas, there's a number of antenna analyzing software programs out there, and then some very simple things like a dipole length calculator. This is a simple website. If you're into building things, there's software for both circuit design and for PC board design. and some of them do both. Satellite tracking. In the olden days, you had to install software. Now you can simply use a website such as N2YO. You can click on that, go out, put in the satellites you want to track, and it'll give you real-time satellite tracking information. It's not, if you don't load in 5 seconds, you get skipped over today. Okay. Training software. If you're interested in learning CW, there's a variety of software out there. And some of these softwares are actually used by two of the most popular groups. The CW Ops has the CW Ops Academy, and they use a version of one of these softwares that they actually have access to. But it's part of the, oops, got the link wrong on that. I'll fix that link. Some more software trainings for CW. Here's some specialty programs. I have a whole list of different software for time syncing, for GPS time. If you're using a portable GPS unit in the field, a gray line map. This is simply a little standalone gray line map, very similar to the one that's in N1MM. Some testing and electronic software, both simulators and testing tools. And then a whole page of information on electronic circuits. Audio and video, digital signal processing, media players are all tools that you might find useful. There is a ton of online tunables free software receivers out there, and I put together a whole presentation on it. You can go to the whole presentation. I also put together a few page startup sheet here. I use this when I'm working with schools a lot, and when I'm working with the students, I need activities that they can do on their own or that they can also take home with them. And this is a very good activity to have them use these online software-defined radios. So I put together a few page help sheet that talks about them, gives you links to the various sites with them, both the web SDR sites and the Kiwi SDR sites, some screenshots on how to use them, and including suggested frequencies for them to tune to, keyboard controls. Here's the Kiwi system. Here's some more free SDR tuners out there. Some information on shortwave listening, and some information on frequency band charts and radio frequency list. Some DX spotting sites so they can look for information on stations that are being spotted. And then a chart for different amateur radio bands on when the best time is to use each of these, and what frequencies and what mode it is and what you should set the filters for. So if you're working with youngsters or anyone in a group, this is a really good way to give them the ability to have a shortwave receiver for free with no need of an antenna outside. I also have some software defined radio software. This is software that works with SDRs. And remote control and rig software. Remote hams is specifically designed for the Elecraft radios, but it will work with some other radios. It's a free piece of software. Ham Radio Deluxe has a built-in remote capability. So these are two programs for operating your radio remote. But in many cases, if you can operate your computer remotely, you don't need everything special to operate your radio. So if you're using WSJTX to do FT8 and FT4, if you can simply get into your computer remotely, you can operate those because you can do everything from the computer. So things like Ultra VNC, I use Chrome Remote Desktop a lot. And this is also helpful when I'm helping people in my local club with problems with other software. This is some remote software for the ICOM radios. It's the RS-BA1. It's remote control software. There's a free ICOM remote software that just came out called WF View. This just came out a few days ago, and it's still in development, but a lot of the features are there, including the ability to do the band map remotely. Kenwood actually has a variety of free programs on their website that you can use to control the radios. They consist of two parts. You have this radio voice over IP program called the ARVP 10, and then you get the specific command software depending on which radio you're using. So if you're using the 590, you'd pick the 590 software. If you're using the 480, you'd pick the 480 software. So the combination of these two will allow you to do remote control of your radio. Even if you're not interested in doing remote control of your radio, the programs like the ARPHP programs will work very well with the radio itself in the shack. So it's a great way. If you have a 590 SG that does the CW decoding, it actually gives the CW decoding on your computer screen instead of just the 4 or 5 digits that it shows at a time on the radio. We'll talk about, I'll actually go to my website in here in a moment. Okay, so we'll actually just go live to my website here. So my website is k8zt.com. Let me zoom in a little bit. So under the operating tab, I have software links for resources for new hams, DXing, contesting, maps and charts, logging, and QSLs, Morse code, digital modes, VHF and UHF, QRP, space and satellites. Let's just jump on one. We'll go to contesting, for example. I like to create these little buttons for each of the software. So this is the links for the contesting. There's general contesting software and calendars. There's information on propagation and spotting. There's information on different contests, a whole section on N1MM and N1MM add-ons. And then there's a whole thing on some podcasts and different people that have podcasts and websites for resources, section on contesting clubs, etc. Here's some of those ADIF utilities I mentioned earlier, and so forth. So there's a wide variety of things on my website as far as software and other resources go. There's a section under the radios that has software for specific models of radios and information for different models of radios. So if you go to the Elecraft section or the Kenwood section or the ASU section, if you're looking at older radio equipment, I even have some information on that. Then this has nothing to do with radio software, but I do have a whole section here on student information, ham radio for youth resources. So if you're working with youth at all, I have both resources for youth and for people that are working with youth, including a website for youth called the Kids Radio Zone, which has links for them, all the Zach and Max comic books, and a variety of things designed for youth on the web page. So let's go. So this is again is the link to get to all the resources I showed tonight, tiny.cc/software. I'm sorry, tiny.cc/soft-ar. And you can simply click on that and it'll get you to this slideshow. If you need the slideshow in a PDF format for any reason, you can click on the PDF link. Here's my email address and my website. This, by the way, is the railroad that I volunteer on. This is a scenic railroad in the Cuyahoga Valley National Park that runs between Cleveland and Akron areas. If you're in Ohio, please feel free to visit. And then finally, at tiny.cc/k8zt-p, I have a link to all of the presentations that I've done over the last year. And some of them have multiple entries because there's multiple videos available, because I've done them for different groups. For example, this is the one that I did at the Orlando Hamcation session that you guys ran back in February. So again, that's tiny.cc/k8zt-p, and that'll get you links to any of the programs, and including future ones that I'm actually adding. I usually add them to this. So with that, I will go ahead and stop my screen share, and I will go ahead and answer questions.
Hey, if anybody has any questions, don't forget to unmute your microphone.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, I've got an Apple system. What software would you recommend for me to record all my not contesting specifically, but all my contacts?
Yeah, let me just
and I haven't found a really good one yet.
Well, the ones I have listed on my website, and I don't have a Mac currently. I've had them in the past, but I don't have one currently. But on my website, I do have some right here under contesting software, and let me bring up the right section here. The Skocum Logger is one of the ones, and Rumpt is another one. These are two softwares for Macs. Let me just open both these up. So here's the Skocum software, and it's available at the Mac Apple Store. And then the other one is not showing up. Rumpt is not showing up, so I'm not sure if it's not available anymore or if the link is bad. Let's see if it comes up here. No, I just said the link is bad. So it's called RumSoft. And again, that link is available for my webpage. And this is from DL2 RUM. So those are the only two that I know about off the top of my head for Macintosh.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next question. I'll just leave the screen share up in case we need to go back to it, if that's okay.
All right. Good presentation.
Any other questions I can answer? Boy, you're a quiet bunch for 30-some people. The group I had on Monday was 6 people. We went for almost 3 hours.
Wow.
They do something very interesting. They have a combination Zoom meeting, on air meeting, and they try out different modes. And they talk about them, and then they actually try them on the air. So I was doing an FT8, FT4 demo for them, but they were also live doing FT8 and FT4 at the same time.
That's pretty cool.
Any other questions?
It's a lot of information.
Yeah, dig through the stuff and try some of it out. I'm not sure what most of you are using for logging software, or if you're not even doing electronic logging software, but that's one thing I really strongly suggest people give a try for one of the first programs to try out. And I will put the link in the chat here again. If you came in late, I'll put the link in here for all my information. There we go. It's in the chat. Okay, I don't think there's any questions in the chat.
Yeah, and also we're monitoring the YouTube channel. We're live streaming to our YouTube channel, and there's no questions yet. Michael, can you put that link on there for ones in the chat?
I think what one person has pointed out, it's quite true. It says, presentation is fantastic. I will be running these canned presentations from your website for hours.
Well,
That's a lot of information that you threw at us.
Very glad to do that. And, you know, if you belong to other clubs and you're interested in presentation, I'm available to do presentations. And as I mentioned earlier, the Rat Pack group, I'm actually part of the planning committee for the Rat Pack group. So we have presentations every Wednesday and Thursday. We're going to be doing a series coming up leading to Field Day. We're going to do a Field Day presentation on May 13th, I think it is. And then we'll have Sean, KX9X is going to do a thing on satellites with the focus on Field Day. And then we're going to be doing N1MM Logger for two nights to dig into that with hands-on. And if you want to get started in N1MM Logger, the link in my list of presentations, there's a 3-hour video that we did with about 60 people. We had basically people signed up, and we did a hands-on where we went through installing, configuring, setting it up, and using the software. Any other questions?
Yeah, somebody just asked about the link to Rat Pack. I was going to put it in the chat room or chat window for everybody.
Very good. There is no URL. You basically use the IO groups. You sign up for the IO groups. Although we are just adding a YouTube channel also, so there'll be a YouTube channel in addition to the Vimeo channel. And actually, this is a list of all their previous programs. I can put that in.
There you go.
Yep. Very good.
All right. Anybody have any other questions? I know that Anthony said he had another presentation to do, one on the West Coast this time, right?
Yes, during the Palomar Radio Club. If anyone is interested in or is an insomniac and wants to start at 10:30 tonight, I'll be doing I'll be talking about field day and social distancing with the Palomar Radio Club, and the link is on their website for tonight. They do the same as you. They do both a Zoom and a YouTube. So if you just want to sit back and watch the YouTube, you're welcome to do that.
Awesome. All right, Anthony, I do appreciate you stopping by tonight. We'll probably see about having you do another presentation in the future.
Oh, very well.
We got a list of things that we'll go through there and see what we can have you come back and do for us. And again, we appreciate you coming in tonight and taking care of this presentation for us.
Oh, you're very welcome. And my wife's not here right now, but she said she wishes we were back down there for Hamcation this year. She missed not going back, so we'll be back again.
Well, we didn't have it for 2021 because
I know,
pandemic,
yes.
but we're definitely coming back for 2022.
Yes, I wanted to go for years, and I always had something else that occurred during that same week at work, so I couldn't take the time off. So after I retired, it was nice to come down there. So it's been great.
And I'm sure it's nice to get out of that cold, frigid north in February. All righty, you're welcome to stick around.
I'll hang around the background here, and I'll be dropping out because I'll have to get ready for another session though. But I'll hang around for a while. Thanks.
Okay, appreciate it. All right, some of the things we are going to talk about tonight. Real quick, let me just check. Actually, let me do this first. Jim, are you still on there tonight? There he is.
Me?
Yep. Do you want to take a few minutes?
Yeah, I'll take a couple of minutes because I don't want to stay up too late. I go to bed early because I get up early, but thanks. Really don't have a whole lot. Anybody gets my newsletter, it'll be very thin this month. It'll be thinner than last month because really hasn't been a lot going on, and I had vacation, so I got another excuse on top of it. I'll say that as far as general news of interest to anybody, the ARL is going to have their board meet in Newington in July. I've already bought my ticket, so that'll be interesting. That'll be the first time we've gotten together since I got inaugurated, a year and a half ago. So it'll be interesting. There's a lot of stuff going on there. I think the big thing of interest probably to people here is the info with the new RFI exposure stuff in the FCC. And I am going to paste a link. It's on my Facebook thing, but it's got some guidelines and stuff that's come out that the lab people and some of the people on the committee have put together and the board have put together. I will also say that some of you guys might have this. See if I can get it to show up. I can't get it to show up. It doesn't want to show up. Anyway, that RF exposure and U book, they're supposed to be working on a new version of that. Not sure when that's going to come out. And there's going to be some resources on the web to help you do the calculations and stuff coming. So that's probably the most interesting thing for members that are going on right now. Everything else, as far as up there at headquarters, is all underway and under work. So I'll probably drop by in August again or something after the board meeting, see what shakes out of there. But other than that, that's pretty much it. Don't want to take up too much time.
All right, no, appreciate you stopping by tonight. And like I said, if you had anything or anytime you need, just let us know. We'll make sure you have some time on the agenda.
I appreciate it. I just like dropping by once in a while.
All right. All right. Some of the things we're going to talk about tonight, obviously field day. Field day is coming up. We actually have a walkthrough coming up at the fairgrounds. Michael, if I'm not mistaken, next Tuesday?
Tuesday, yes.
Okay. That we're going to be walking around on taking care of some Hamcation related items, but while we're there, we're also going to work out some details with field day. But I am going to be sending out a survey here probably shortly thereafter, after we get done with the walkthrough, to the club, and just trying to get some ideas of what you are planning on doing for field day. We're trying to do obviously an in-person field day. Things are a lot of people are getting vaccinated, and everybody's getting a little antsy about getting out of the house and wanting to get back on the air or back into a in-person setting. So I want to throw some questions and some things out to the group, and I really hope that the club will take the time to answer those. It's going to be all anonymous. Nobody's going to know how you answer or anything, but just trying to get an idea so we can plan plan a field day according to by the amount of people are going to be there. In the years past, we've done some large field day sessions, had a ton of people help set up, had a ton of people help tear down, but never had enough operators. Our goal this year is to have more operators. Set up and tear down probably won't be that hard for us this year. Operating for the entire 24-hour period is what we need, and we need you to come out to operate different times of the over the 24-hour period of that weekend. So we will definitely send out some information, and the next month's meeting we'll go into full detail what's planned. So stay tuned for that. I don't want to go into exactly how many. We talked about having 2 stations. I don't want to say that's the final decision yet, but I don't want to go doing so many stations and not have enough people to sit there and show up to operate. So when we send out this survey, it's very important that you answer honestly. If you plan on being there, we need to know. If you don't plan on being there, we need to know. Okay, because we need to plan on based off of how many people are going to be there, so we have 1, enough stations, and 2, enough gear and stuff there. So please, when we send it out, please make sure you sit there and take the time to answer it. All right. Real quick, does anybody have any other questions on field day? Like I said, we'll go into more detail next month. Field day weekend is on the last full weekend of June, which is June 26th and 27th. And at this point, it will be at the Central Florida Fairgrounds where Hamcation is. So does anybody have any questions? Don't forget to unmute your microphone. And Michael, I don't know, can you see the YouTube channel? Make sure there's none there.
Yeah, there's none there.
It might take a second for it to catch up on YouTube. If you see something, we'll go back to it.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Let me share my screen real quick. Something else coming up. Let's see. The K4 KDI Summer Tailgate for 2021 is coming up on Saturday, June the 12th. And it's going to be at the South Conway Road Baptist Church. And that address is 6099 South Conway Road. It's not too far from the airport. It starts at 6 a.m. and it will usually end right about noon, or pretty much when everybody decides it's time to go home. There is going to be a test session available. Our club is going to be sponsoring that test session. If you are interested in taking an exam or know somebody that wants to take an exam, please have them send an email with your contact or their contact information to testing@oerc.org. And our VE team will get it, and they will reply back to you with all the details of what they need, and they'll take care of that stuff on their end. And Bob C., if I'm not mistaken, I think the test session starts at 9 a.m.
It will start at 9 a.m. and pre-registration is definitely required. And so far, I think we have 3 or 4 pre-registered for the test session. I will need VE help, so if you're interested, sign up.
Okay. And if you're a VE wanting to help out, send an email to testing@oerc.org, because that way Bob gets it and Aaron gets that email, and they will reply to you guys. But again, that's coming up on June the 12th, 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. And he mentions there will be a food cart on site. So if you this is a free tailgate. So if you have things you want to sell, you can bring your own tables and chairs and stuff. And it was a pretty good turnout in January or February. February, I think it was. Or maybe it was right before Hamcation or Special Edition.
Yeah.
So it was a really good turnout early part of this year. He's actually, I think, going to try to do it 3 times a year now, June, and then again later in the fall. So looking forward to it. So again, June the 12th at 6 a.m., bright and early. All right. I'll give you a really quick update because I have to talk to the board after the meeting tonight in reference to the details of this. But we will be at some point here soon returning to in-person meetings. Okay. I have gotten some information from the Beardall Center, what it is going to take for us to get back to having a in-person meeting. I'm not going to say exactly when it's going to happen because there's some details I need to go over the board with, and we have to do some planning. But I will sit there and say it's closer than it ever was since last March, since our last meeting. So we will hopefully be returning to the Beardall Center really, really soon. And if you feel like you're safe enough that you want to come, that's fine. Please come. If you don't feel safe, don't worry. We're still going to use Zoom. It might have some technical difficulties the first run around when we do it because of we haven't used Zoom at the Beardall Center since all this started up. And so it might take a little time to get things right, but we will still be running Zoom and over onto YouTube if possible. There's just some technical stuff that we have to figure out. But the Beardall's internet service that's there, or we have to bring our own in. So stay tuned for that. As soon we will give out every free, or I should say fair notice of when we will be returning to in-person meetings. But I can tell you it's going to be soon. Let's see. Jim touched lightly on this a few minutes ago about some new exposure rules that the FCC came up with that took effect this past Monday. There are areas of this rulemaking that pertains to amateur radio. So what I'm looking for is, somebody that has the qualifications to do a presentation to the club and also be able to answer those questions. So if you know somebody that's in that status, please send me an email so we can get them booked and have them do a presentation on the changes to the exposure rules that pertain. I would rather have somebody that knows, a good amount of information about it. So that way, when they talk about it to the club, it's accurate and they're giving good, accurate information to the club and it's our members. So again, send me an email if you know anybody. With that, I just want to sit there and say at the last board meeting, with a little bit of arm twisting and poking and prodding, Tony has agreed to be our new program chairman for the meetings. He's going to have help from me and the rest of the board, but Tony is going to be lining up programs for our OERC meetings from now on, while he's on the board at least until he decides he doesn't want to do it anymore, which hopefully won't be next month, but I think he'll do fine. But we're trying to get things lined up well in advance, so that way we have a calendar and people will know what presentations we have come up throughout the year and stuff. So once all that's finalized, we'll get it out to everybody's, or get it out to the editors. They'll put it in the newsletter, and we'll get up on the website and go with it from there. Okay, Michael, did you want to do some updates on Hamcation 2022?
Those things.
Yeah, I can. Really not that much to go over. We pretty much had our first committee meeting a week ago. We're starting up a little early just because everything's up and live on the website. If you want to volunteer, of course, it's up there. Please go and volunteer. Sign up is up there. It's live. It will go to the chairman that you volunteer for. So please, if you know you want to volunteer already, you know you usually do, please go up and volunteer. Also, if you want to buy tickets, that's up there for people that's in here that might have swap tables, tailgate spaces. That's all able to be sold now. Please look at it. Also, I am looking for some new chairmen, new positions open up. I'll probably be attending some of the other area clubs meetings to see about getting some of these positions filled and talking to everybody about Hamcation. Sorry, going through a couple notes here. I do know there's several positions looking for assistant chairman. There's also some new positions. I'll go over those real quick. One thing I am doing this year, I am splitting off special event and talk-in into 2 areas. I will need a special event chairman and a talk-in chairman. Everybody knows Benton has been sick, so I need to find a replacement for him for talk-in. That's 2 of them. The other one that I am looking for also is a publications chairman. Publications is going to be helping create all the documents for Hamcation. The flyers that get made up to the program, somebody that knows how to make a proper program. So if you know anybody or is interested in any of those positions, please email me. It's chairman@hamcation.com is my email. The other ones I'm looking for also is the assistant chairmans. One of them is going to be forms. James needs an assistant. The other one is going to be swaps. Jim Robar needs an assistant for swaps. Frank and advanced ticket, or not advanced tickets, on-site tickets needs a chairman also to help him with it. That's the ones I have for right now. Just to let everybody know too, something I haven't really enforced, but any chairman that come on need to know, 1, how to use email, 2, needs to know how to use a computer and be kind of fluent in how to use a computer and email. And it's not going to be, okay, I want to do it and just not do nothing. You will be working. You will be doing a lot. Hamcation is almost like a job. So some people do a little more than others. It's different times of the year. Also, that some of them don't get busy until closer to the show time. Some areas are busy when we start up from start to finish. Some of the positions, like the ones that do pre-registered work, it's almost year round. It doesn't stop. So please, if you're interested in any of them or just want to volunteer or have more questions about any of the positions, please email me. I'm willing to meet up with you, talk about it, do a Zoom meeting if you like, go over more details of it. And just remember, if you do sign up, you do still get to all the time that you do work, you get to donate toward a club of your choice for the hours, which will help out in the donation checks. I can let you know that a lot of the chairmen on here donate to the local clubs, and that's how some of these clubs get the bigger checks, because a lot of these chairmen put in the hours, and that's kind of how they get paid, is by paying the club of their choice donations. So it is, the time does get given back to the local clubs. That's pretty much all I have.
Did you want to mention one thing about the email that you got from Carol?
Oh, yes. I did receive an email from Carol Perry. I think most people know who she is. She's very big with youth and amateur radio. She comes to Hamcation every year and does a youth forum for us, and also does a big one in Dayton. She goes to Huntsville. She goes to a lot of the big clubs. Give me 1 second here. My email is not wanting to open. But 2 or 3 years ago, she had one of her presenters do a presentation at Hamcation. It was the first time he's ever done a presentation. He has special needs. He is an amateur radio operator. His mentor worked with him to do the presentation, and he actually just won an award for, I believe it's called Youth Helping Hands. It's a RCA, Radio Club of America award that he just won. And
we share it?
Huh?
Can we share it so you can read it?
Yeah, because my email ain't coming up.
Can you see it?
No, my computer just locked up. Yeah. It's the 2021 Youth Ham Lindsay Hand Contest winners. This contest is designed to encourage and reward the spirit of volunteerism in amateur radio amongst our young hams. It has been sponsored for many years by RCA Youth Activities, QCWA, and the original founder with Carol Perry, WB2 MGP, and Evan Rolick, K9SQG. This year's winners are 2 extremely talented young hams who are tireless in their recruiting, teaching, and all-around volunteering in various ham radio organizations. It is a hard choice, so they choose 2 winners this year. Isaac Scofer, AC3. CJ is 16 years old from Silver Springs, Maryland. Amongst many of the activities, he is a volunteer at the Kid Museum at KM3KID ham radio station. Isaac is a volunteer at the Laurel VEC test sessions on the Montgomery Amateur Radio Club. He was given presentations at Carol Perry's Dayton Hamvention Youth Forum and at Orlando Hamcation Youth Forum as well. These are just some of the extraordinary achievements and volunteering efforts. Ian Powell, W7OLI, is 15 years old and from Broadman, Oregon. He is a member of the
Boardman.
Oh, I'm sorry, Boardman. He is a member of the Hermston Amateur Radio Club and participates in Aries Nets. He is doing the ARL EC001 course and will be taking the FEMA test for Aries so he can be Aries certified at age 18. He is welcoming and tutoring of newcomers to the amateur radio is well documented. Both hams will be receiving an award of $100 and it is honor them both in person at the 2022 Hamvention Youth Forum. Yeah, the first gentleman, Isaac, he was the one that I was talking about. He was the one to actually come to Hamcation. It was his first Hamfest he's been to. And he did the presentation here and did very well. Then he did it again in Hamvention and did very well there also. So Carol's just putting it out there, let us know that what we do with youth here by doing the forums, does help out youth around the country. And this is one of the things that she was proud of, that he was able to come to Hamcation and do a presentation and get award for everything he does in amateur radio as a youth.
Okay, appreciate it, Michael. Does anybody have any questions up to this point for anything we've discussed so far? And if you do, don't forget to unmute your microphone. Okay, not hearing anything. If anybody pops in there, we'll go back to you. Let's go around to the clubs that are available tonight. See what updates they have. Anybody from QCWA? Rich? I don't know if you want to mention anything about QCWA. You're still muted. We can't hear it. Can't hear you, Rich. You're muted.
My apologies. I lost functionality there in my spacebar push to talk switch. QCWA meets still on Zoom, and it's going to be on Zoom for a while, I believe. But it's on Thursdays, the second Thursday of the month, in accord when the normal QCWA luncheon would be. If you are in QCWA and you're not getting Zoom links from me, then drop me an email or a text, and we'll make sure you get a link for the luncheons for QCWA. We'd like to see everybody come back and visit. People have kind of gone away with the pandemic, so welcome back, and we'll see you on Zoom.
I opened my Outlook and it's going to screw me up.
Don't forget the Tuesday night net.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. We have a Tuesday night on the air meeting, 147.195 plus 600 and a 103.5 tone. And everybody's invited to that. That's at 7:30 p.m. right after the Aries net, on the SVTN net.
All right, sounds good. Jim Robar, how about Lamar's?
There we go, unmuted. Tomorrow night will be our regular meeting, and we will meet at the Trotwood Park. Trotwood Park is located just south of State Road 434 in Winter Springs. It's on Tuscaloosa, and it's about a mile and a half or so from 434 going south. Our program tomorrow night will be building some more 2-meter tape measure antennas for a upcoming the 22nd of May fox hunt. And I would assume, I don't have the time on that, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be in the morning before we get into the heat or anything like that. We're going to meet at the pavilion, the Pam Carroll Memorial Pavilion in Trotwood Park in Winter Springs. And this will be our first meeting in a while. So if anybody wants to stop up, bring a chair, and there's plenty of room to spread out for anybody that, would be more comfortable doing that. But outside of that, that's about it. We did do this. We had our fox hunt several months ago, and this is a follow up to it. And hopefully we'll start doing these several times a year. But for anybody that's never done them, they're an absolute blast to do. It's a lot of fun. So hopefully we'll have enough antennas for everybody that wants to do it to use it. But that's all I have for now from Lamar's.
All right, appreciate it. All right, Jerry, did you have any updates for CERT? Don't forget about unmuting. Uh-oh, I think he actually dropped out already. How about Bill and Chrissy? Anything from Clark on the CERT?
Yeah, we're still doing our monthly meetings face to face. We're working extremely hard on the Florida CERT conference in August at Plantation, collecting donations and things like that. And appreciate everybody's support and anybody's help.
All right, appreciate it. And Bobbin, CFRA.
Well, good evening, everybody. Central Florida Repeater Association is still meeting the last Wednesday of every month at Perkins at University in Forsyth. Last month we had 15 people there, and it's face to face. You do need to cut the mask when you come in. We start getting there about 6 o'clock. John and Michael get there about 5 to make sure that the tables are all set up for us. They're always there early. Dues are $12 a year, calendar year from when you join. Repeater is downtown around Colonial I-4, 443.075 with the 1035 PL, and it's analog and fusion up and running. Please use it. That's why we have it. Nothing much, but I'm just happy that we're doing this kind of face-to-face meeting. I just hope that OARC gets that soon because I miss our group, this group, but I'm glad that CFRA is having their group. That's all I got.
All right. Thanks, Bobbin. And Ken for scouting.
Hello, everybody. Well, our last event was in the middle of April. We had over 400 scouts learn Morse code. It was a Western themed event. We actually had several that latched onto Morse code. They, especially the piano players. Anybody that play piano knows how to do Morse code apparently because they caught on quickly. We gave away 3 sets of walkie-talkies. Our winner was 19 seconds, which I think is like 30 words a minute, and that was with no mistakes. And they did it. He only practiced 3 times. So they're doing great. We're gearing up for summer camp. We're still trying to get details on that, and of course gearing up for October, which is Jamboree on the Air, and we're trying to do a blowout this year. We're already trying to get our connections into Orlando, Lake County, and I believe even PCARS is offering us a ham trailer. We're going to see if we can get 10,000 in 1 month and about 4,000 for our one JOTA event itself. They're taking over Rybold, which is the camp that's just outside the main camp. So it's our overflow area where we'll have the older scouts on that side and we'll be completely at capacity on the inner camp, assuming COVID does not cause any other issues.
Wow, sounds good. There's a lot of kids.
Yes, it is.
All right. Rod, anything from the Shriners?
I think I got it unmuted.
You do.
Not tonight. We have our first live meeting a week from tonight, so maybe we'll have something for next month. But our original plan before this thing kept getting on and on and on was to have some kind of a tailgate this spring before the hurricane season started, but I think that's passed now, so I'm not sure what's on the schedule. So I'll let you know when it comes up. Thank you very much.
Not a problem. Not a problem. And let's see. Anybody from Weak Signal Society? Bobbin or Bob C?
I haven't seen George, but it looks like they probably will have a June meeting. Hopefully, we'll see what comes to pass. I haven't heard anything. Going back to Lamar's for a minute, we will be doing testing at Lamar's on the 3rd Saturday of every month up at the Seminole County Sheriff's Office. I already have 5 or 6 people pre-registered for May 15th test session. So it looks like the demand is out there for new licensees and upgrades. So hopefully OARC can start testing pretty soon.
Both you and Bobbin mentioned that, so I will just reiterate that it's coming and it's coming soon. So I'll go over with you guys here after the meeting. Let's see. Anybody from AMSAT? I haven't seen Lou on here. Deers? I don't see anybody from Deers. Lake Amateur Radio? And similarities. All right. Orange County Areas meeting's coming up for Monday night. There are some things some exciting things to bring to the Aries meeting on Monday night. So I'm looking forward to that. And if you are, it's still going to be on Zoom. We haven't gotten back into the EOC as of yet, but if you are interested in coming to the Aries meeting, just send me an email. If you're not already a member of Aries, send me an email and I can make sure you get the link for the meeting Monday night. Otherwise, it will go out probably Friday night or Saturday night with the link for the Aries meeting on Monday night. So looking forward to seeing everybody there. But there's some exciting news coming up for that one. All right, let me go around to the boards real quick, board members real quick to see if they have anything further. Michael, did you make it back in? Yeah, he's actually in there. Did you have anything further?
Talking to me?
Yes.
I just popped in. All I heard was, do you have anything further? No.
Okay. All right, Anna.
Nope, I'm good.
All right. Bobbin.
Nope, nothing more.
Bob C.
Nothing.
Tony.
Nothing else, Sean. Thank you.
Okay. Let's see. Where was I at? Tony James.
RF exposure for you is 314 pages. I'm still working on page 1.
That's why I want to go just the amateur radio portion and the important parts, I guess. All right. Dean.
Nothing tonight.
All right. Frank T.
You gotta unmute. Nope, nothing. I'm done.
All right. And then Frank G.
Nope, nothing here.
Been to White Castle yet?
Not yet.
I was waiting for someone to ask him that.
All right, guys. Does anybody that still have any questions or anything for us? And to answer Paul, actually, Michael just answered him. Paul was asking on YouTube, the chat there, when the next in-person meeting was going to be. Michael just gave him the information we know at this point. All right. Our next meeting is going to be Wednesday, June the 2nd at 7 o'clock. And it could be virtual, could be in person. Stay tuned to find out. And we'll actually be going over stuff on field day for that meeting. So looking forward to it. Huh? Or it could be both.
Could be both.
Yep. It could be virtual and in person. So virtually and in person. All right. That's all we have for this evening. Appreciate everybody coming out. I would say drive home safely, but most of you guys are probably already home. So be careful going to your living rooms if that's where you're going to next. Thank you for coming though tonight. But don't forget, I need the board members to stick around for a few minutes.